Hey, this is Johnny Damon, and you are watching the Moneyball channel on YouTube.
The payoff, swing and a miss for strike three. Another strikeout for Connelly Early. He sets down Anthony Rizzo.
The 0-2, swing and a miss, strike three. The 1-2 home, dots the outside frame, strike three. The 2-2, swing and a miss, strike three. The 0-2 home, swing and a miss. And the one
here today with one of the coolest names, I think, period, in baseball, Mr. Connelly Early. What's happening, my man?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for taking some time with me. I was just telling you, I'm getting ready to take the whole family to New York City for a few days. And for whatever reason, man, I have some anxiety about this trip. I think there's just too many crazy people in the world or something, right? So I've been kind of bugging out about it all day, and people have been trying to settle me down. They're like, you'll be all right. You'll be fine. I usually go with just the wife, and now I got all the kids and everybody. But people hear my voice all the time. Let's talk to Mr. Connelly Early. Boston Red Sox. Just got done with what, the first year or the second year in the organization?
So pretty much first full season. So I spent like the very end of a season after I got drafted in Salem, but first full season. So going in the second one.
Okay, so is Salem low A?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and now are you high A, double A? What are you doing?
So I went to high A last year to start the season and was there all the way until All-Star break. And then got called up to Portland, Maine, our AA team after All-Star break, and stayed there through the rest of the year.
That's great, man. Not only to get called up, but to stay, right? It sounds like the trajectory is going the way that you would envision it. How old are you now?
I'm 22. April 3rd is my birthday. So when the next season starts, I'll turn 23 right at the start.
23, right? But it's kind of cool though, because it leads right into the season. So every year, you transgress into the next year of both the season and your life. I guess I'll go into the questions that I ask. Usually, the most recent guys I've been having on have just got drafted. Now, I mean, I've had the Johnny Damons on and things like that and the retired professionals, but the guys more recently have just gotten drafted. So the question was, hey, how'd you feel when your name got called? But that's like ancient history to you, brother. So, obviously you've now been in the organization for a little while. How is it? I mean, how do you feel not only about the Red Sox organization, but did you ever in a million years, man, when you were a kid, I guess you have goals, but did you ever think you'd be a Major League Baseball player?
I mean, growing up, man, I really didn't think I was going to be a Major League Baseball player. I actually chose West Point. I chose to go to West Point out of high school.
Oh, you're a West Point guy. Okay.
Yes, sir. I spent 2 years there and then transferred to UVA. I kind of went to West Point thinking that I just wanted to be able to enjoy the last 4 years of baseball and then, do the whole military thing after that. And really? After a little bit of time, my mind ended up changing and kind of brought me to pro ball.
Sorry than I thought, man. So I guess Duffy was right. So basically you were West Point and you were kind of basing it like, I'm going to have a military career?
Yes, sir. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where did you grow up? Like, where did you go to school?
I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. So it's in Midlothian. It's to the west, but I went to James River High School.
Okay. So in high school, did you kind of make up your mind, like, I want to be involved military?
Yes, sir. So my dad served in the Air Force, and then my granddad on my mom's side served in the Army, and my pop on my dad's side served in the Navy. And then my brother's actually serving right now and went to the Air Force Academy. So a lot of family history in the military, and kind of thought that that's where I was going to fall. Every life takes changes and you end up in different places, man.
Yeah, man. Respect. Listen, my real dad was in the Army as well, buried at Bath Cemetery in New York. And I can tell you, man, like there's an overwhelming good feeling, when I talk about military or anyone whose family military, people can have whatever views they want on it, but there's no other way to slice it up, man. It's respect, and anyone who feels otherwise is insane. What, people do to go put their lives on the line and go for our own freedom is unmatched. And, there's nothing more to say about that. Lights out. But as far as baseball goes, how did this transition? So, I mean, when you went to West Point, was it on a baseball ride, or dig into that a little more?
So when you commit to West Point, you still have to get into the college. So when you go to West Point, they don't have like the 11.75 scholarships, anything like that. So everybody goes to West Point for free.
Okay. Oh, because you're in essence joining the mill. Okay, I got you.
Yes, sir. So I ended up getting into West Point on my own. I think baseball might have helped a little bit, but I mean, yeah, I thought that was going to be, a great decision and set up my future very well. So that's kind of why I did it, and kind of wanted to make my life a little more than just, school or just baseball and the military.
So, I mean, and pardon my ignorance with this, usually I'm talking to like SEC, D1 schools, even, D3s that are great, JUCO schools or whatever. Does West Point have a renowned baseball program? Are they kind of notorious for it, or?
So West Point's in a Patriot League, which isn't a crazy conference or anything like that, but we've won the Patriot League for the past 5 years. So we've kind of built a dynasty there behind the coaches, and obviously, every year we bring in 10 to 15 kids, and we get them involved and make them understand the way of how Army baseball is. And every year we're trying to push for a regional, super regional, and just see what we can do from there.
This is really cool to hear about. You're the first, guy I've had on who's taken this path. And what's really unique and cool to me is, so in this Patriot League, is this Army, Navy, Air Force, right? Is this who you're playing?
So in the Patriot League, we have Army and Navy. Air Force is in the Mountain West Conference, just because they're so far away. But we do play them every year.
And they're the Air Force,
Yeah, Air Force. Yeah, the Patriot League is Bucknell, Lehigh,
Okay.
Holy Cross. Trying to think if I'm missing the team.
Well,
in there.
those right there, though. I mean, those right there are big baseball names. Like Holy Cross, and if I'm not mistaken, NCAA hockey as well, right? Isn't that Holy Cross a decent hockey program?
Yes, sir. West Point's pretty solid at hockey as well, and Holy Cross is up there. I think in the same. So
Yeah.
I don't think they're called the Patriot League. Just similar vibe.
So up here in Buffalo, we can't get baseball all year round, dude. So we have to find other ways. And hockey, right now, my 11-year-old's doing travel hockey and travel baseball. And I always joke with him and say how much I would love it if he could play travel baseball all year round. But we're pretty limited up here, man. It's cold and rainy right now. Studio's at my house. It's probably 35. There's a lot of snow on the ground. We had about in the last week, we probably have had 6 feet of snow, not inches.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you've probably never even seen snow. Have you seen snow?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we get snow usually every year, but it doesn't hit until late January, early February, pretty much. Not too many snow down here.
Yeah, growing up in Virginia, I know Virginia, man, has just a breeding ground, for baseball talent. All joking aside, Buffalo has recently, kind of been put on the map, but down south, where you guys are able to play more, I mean, it's a way of life, right? Almost like college football, and then baseball is just a way of life. And were you always into it since a kid? Was this your sport? Was this your A sport?
Yeah, so I have 3 brothers, so 2 older ones, and I grew up around the baseball field. I mainly played baseball, soccer, and basketball growing up. My mom wouldn't let me get into football.
Yeah.
So never grew up playing football, but I love to watch football. I'm just a big sports guy in general. Love to watch any sort of sports or play any sort of sports, just anything with a competitive aspect to it. So
tell me a little bit about that Army Navy game, man. Like you were there. Where did you sit and how was the atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere is crazy. Everybody is Army versus Navy, but it's just bringing everybody from Army and Navy together. It's amazing, and the tailgates are a great time. And there's so many famous people in the Army or Navy that are there, and you see so many officers there. And it was a tough game for Army for sure. We didn't play great.
I was shocked.
We had a great season, so it's kind of tough to lose that game because, the Air Force and Navy game are really big games for them. So that was difficult, but I was sitting up on the Navy side, actually, up in the suite with a couple of my buddies from West Point. So those guys graduated, and I go back and see them every year.
Yeah, very cool, man. And, you made a good point with Army and Navy. It's joking around, right? You have some schools who are legit rivals, like Tennessee and Georgia, where, they'll fight each other in the stands. I feel like with Army and Navy, there's such a good camaraderie that, yeah, they'll pick on each other a little bit. But like when it comes down to it, you're an American and you're fighting, you know what I mean? It's a different vibe for sure. It's a different energy.
Yes, sir. 100%.
So when you are at West Point, let's go back into this a little bit because it's so intriguing to me. How did you start getting scouted or noticed?
So I pitched my freshman year, and we didn't have many lefties there, so I ended up getting a decent amount of innings. And then sophomore year came around. We had a couple injuries, so I ended up starting on the weekends and ended up being in the Friday role, and ended up winning the Patriot League Pitcher of the Year that year.
Awesome.
I ended up performing really well that year, and then I kind of wasn't sure if I wanted to leave or not. I was kind of like stuck in the middle of it because our coaching staff was leaving, and I kind of thought to myself, like, maybe I have a chance at playing pro ball. I mean, I wasn't too sure because I was definitely undersized back then. Being in the Army, you have a lot of physical activity that you're doing every day just for the military stuff.
Yeah.
So I wasn't throwing very hard, didn't dedicate too much time to baseball at that age just because
Let me interrupt you. So at this point, what are you like? What are you weighing at this point? Like, what is your size compared to where you are now? Where are you when you're pitching there?
Yeah, so sophomore year I was like 170, 175
wow.
pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty skinny. And then right now I'm
Well, they
like,
got you running 20 miles a day, man. I mean, take it easy with the running here, Army. Like,
yeah, now I'm like 200, 202 pounds, somewhere right around there. So
okay.
definitely a big jump.
How
I
much
put
did the
on
velocity go up?
my sophomore year at West Point, my average fastball velocity was 86. And then this past year in pro ball was my average was 93. So I've definitely made crazy gains in that. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's impressive. Well, what's I mean, more impressive to be honest is that you were throwing 86 with a 170 frame. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, listen, 93 is no joke, but to be able to throw as fast as you were with that lighter frame, man. How tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Okay. So listen, you have the pitcher size, man. I mean, you're like literally if you could draw up a pitcher, if you could do AI and make a pitcher, you're pretty much where they want you to be at this point with your current weight. And when you noticed that there was interest, how did that all go? Like who kind of alerted you to it? Like how give me more of the process.
Yeah, so I really didn't know I had any interest.
Okay.
So
Okay.
kind of went into the transfer portal just to kind of gauge interest.
Okay.
So I wasn't for sure set on leaving West Point at that time. I knew my coaches were leaving, so I at least wanted my last 2 years of baseball to be a good time and for me to enjoy it. So I kind of just wanted to, gauge the situation I was in and
Yeah.
throw my name out there to see what I could get.
So you go into the transfer portal, which correct me if I'm wrong, because I do hear different, I've had a lot of college football players. Everybody kind of has a different take on what the transfer portal is, but it's basically like you go ahead and put yourself in and you kind of wait to see, right? You're kind of putting yourself out there, right? And you wait to see who has interest and they can draw you in. Is that how it works?
Yes, sir. So I think your name just goes into like pretty much a big spreadsheet with all the other people and it says like your position, it says where you're from, all that type of stuff. So maybe like your stats are involved in there. I'm not too sure. But then coaches have your email and phone number and can start reaching out to you and everything like that.
So in your particular situation, what happened?
Yeah, so I got reached out to by a couple of teams, UVA being one of them. And UVA's, and it's an hour away from my house, and I grew up going to those games. My mom is a UVA grad, so
Okay.
yeah, I went to the College World Series to watch them in 2014,
Okay. All right.
and when they lost against Vanderbilt, so that was tough. They won in 2015, the year after that. So I knew that it was a prestigious school, and went up there for a visit, and it felt like home, and I ended up choosing to go there
So then you're at UVA for how long?
for a year. So I was there for just 1 year, my junior season, and then after that got drafted.
Okay. So let's take us up. Let's fast forward up to that 1 year, right? You pitch. How was your season that year with UVA?
Yeah, so I went into the season not really knowing what to expect. I went into a meeting with our head coach, Coach O'Connor, and our pitching coach, Drew Dickinson, and they told me that I wasn't going to be starting on the weekends, they just weren't sure because I hadn't shown too much in the fall ball, and I was still kind of getting used to everything.
I like
So
how, and I'm sorry to interrupt you here again, but this is like the second or third. I love how like blatantly honest they are. You know what I mean? You kind of have to respect that because they don't
yes,
sugar it. They don't. They just say, "Listen, you're ready or you're not," and they say it in such a way that it's not insulting because you have so much respect for these guys. Is that fair to say?
100%. Yeah, I mean, these coaches are amazing, and I trust them with all the decisions that they make. I mean, with how good they've been in the past and
Yeah.
how good they were when I was there as well. They know what to look for and they know who's ready and who's not. So I ended up actually starting on midweek games for most of the season, and then kind of transferred into that weekend role close to the end of the season. I'm going into like ACC play and then into the playoffs as well.
And now toward the end of the season, were their eyebrows getting raised then? Did you still have any inkling that, teams were sniffing?
So I had a few pro teams like who had little meetings with me after the fall, and then I really hadn't gotten anything because I'm pretty sure most of the pro teams leave you pretty much alone for your college season because they want you to just go out and perform and not worry about it too much.
Yeah, I know there's certain regulations to it too. What they're allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah. And then pretty much after the College World Series was over, then I started getting reached out to by a couple of teams and, got to know how they work and they got to know who I am and how I like to work. And, the Red Sox ended up being the team that was interested in me and called my name. It was sweet.
That is sweet, man. That's man, I'll tell you what, I hope I'm there one day with one of my three boys. I can tell you that. Listen, but D1 or any college, baseball is my goal, to be quite honest with you, man. And, pros, that word is so, I think sometimes people just so underestimate a low or high A or double or triple A, right? You guys are the best of the best. You're a professional baseball player. There's no other way to slice the cake. Like, you guys are the best of the best. And then I think there's kind of this stigma, around if you're a double A or triple A player, that you're not in the majors. Everybody's working up to that point. And you want my opinion, you won already, man. You know what I mean? Like, of course, everybody wants to get up to that next level, but you won. I mean, you set out to do something, you creamed it, and you still now have the option, being not even 23 years old, where the ball's in your court. So congratulations, because that's got to be an amazing feeling, man. And it sounds like you're a really hard worker, and it sounds like all this stuff was self-earned. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have anybody. A lot of times there's politics and stuff involved, and it sounds like you're really organic, with how you made things happen. What is your pitch repertoire?
So I've actually added a bunch of pitches since college. So I was fastball, curveball, and a changeup in college. Ended up changing my changeup grip, changed my curveball grip, adding a cutter, and then also adding a sweeper. So I got a 5-pitch repertoire now. It's how the game's going, and they want you throwing all these different pitch grips with different metrics just to, keep the hitters off balance. So it's definitely been a challenging time, but also a fun time. And like bullpens and stuff, just, changing up the grips and figuring out what works.
And that's how you're a phenomenal pitcher and a phenomenal athlete. If you have the ability, to switch something that you've been used to doing for X number of years and to not only do it, but to make it work. You know what I'm saying? You're not just throwing it, you're throwing it consistently, accurately, successfully, right? Like, you don't just switch and throw a sweeper. Well, if the sweeper's not working, you can't throw it anymore. So obviously it is working. And then you can keep honing on that craft of the sweeper. I know that's kind of the, what do we call it? The sexy, trendy pitch right now, right? Like, people are, there's a mixture of that and something else. People are kind of making up their own pitches and they're naming them and everything, which I think's cool. I think if you could somehow even bring back a knuckleball, man, it would be cool to see. Right?
Yeah, we actually had a guy in our with the Red Sox. He just got picked up in the Rule 5, but he started incorporating a knuckleball, and it was pretty nasty. Yeah, he got a couple like shoulder shrugs from hitters and stuff like that. So it was a good time.
Yeah. That is, yeah. I mean, Charlie Huff, Tim Wakefield, right? Those are a couple that I can name offhand that threw that so well. That, could you imagine seeing that now as a batter? Like, seeing that pitch come in, it's like, what, 70 miles an hour, if that, and it's doing what it does, the movement on it, man, they wouldn't even know what to do.
Yeah, it's insane.
Who was on your UVA team? Any pro ball players now that are up playing?
So I had Kyle Teal, who was our first round pick to the Red Sox. So I was with him for a year, and then we just traded him away to the White Sox in the Garrett Crochet trade. Okay. So he got moved to the White Sox, and then Jake Geloff was our third baseman. He's with the Dodgers. Shortstop was Griff O'Farrell. He's with the Orioles. He just got drafted this past year. Ethan Anderson, first baseman, drafted by the Orioles. Center fielder was Ethan O'Donnell, drafted by the Reds. And then left fielder was Colin Tuft, who was drafted by the Orioles as well. And then right fielder was Casey Salke was drafted by the White Sox. So we had a great team that year.
I don't know how you just did that. I don't know. I have any idea how you just did that, and you pulled it off as well as you did, man. Wow. That was impressive. And to get all their teams right where they got drafted and everything, that was impressive, man.
We also had a DH who got drafted, Tony Stefan. So we've had plenty of guys drafted, and obviously some of our pitchers are also with other teams as well. So
What a
it was
team.
all.
When you're talking about a team like that and every single one of them is drafted, you know what I mean? Like, man, it's wild. Let's get
Yep.
into some fun stuff here a little bit. I'll throw a couple at you. Who have you struck out that the fans might know? Who is one of the bigger name guys that you might have struck out?
Yeah, so when I was in Portland, Anthony Rizzo was playing for the Somerset Patriots. So I struck him out, which was awesome. And then also his last name was Birdie. I think it's John Birdie for the Yankees
Marlins?
as well. I think it's Yankees as well. He was Somerset.
I mean, you'll be down in Fort Myers then this year, this in a couple months.
Yep. So I'll go back down to Fort Myers early January, just because they want to monitor our throwing and keep up with our bullpens, be able to use all the like all the equipment for us in the gym and also in the bullpens.
And then from a confidence standpoint, how do you feel? How do you feel? I mean, healthy, ready for the season. And listen, man, I want to hear it that you're confident. You know what I mean? Like how comfortable and confident are you, going into this, and what are your thoughts on, hey, I'm ready for the next level. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? Do you have that approach?
Yeah, 100%. If you don't think you're the best guy out there while you're competing, then you don't have the right mindset out there. I think I'm ready for the next level. Obviously there's some changes I need to make, and there's some improvements I need to make with like fastball velocity and obviously like a little bit with my sweeper goal. So if I can knock those two things out of the park, then hopefully, that sets me up in a good spot to where the Red Sox might give me a chance. So that's what I'm hoping for. Just so I'm sitting at a little heavier load, because mass equals gas, my man, nowadays. So there's definitely truth to that, as long as it's good weight. So that's where the gym comes into play. And then outside of that, it's mainly like mechanical adjustments. Just having the body feel as comfortable as it can be and as powerful as it can be moving down that mound. So that's pretty much what I'll be focusing on when I get back in January, and figuring out how to, gain a tick or two on my fastball velocity, just so everything plays up a little bit.
Tell you what, man, I think I go down to spring training every year. I have not been down as far south as Fort Myers yet, and I think I'm going to come down and see you guys this spring, you and Duff, and I'm going to check it out down because I haven't been that far down. I'm a big Braves fan. We're a Braves family. We're always in Northport. Yeah, I have so many good stories over the past 5-6 years of going down to spring training. Started out as a fan, and now moving in with the show and media and stuff, and I love it. I just think it's amazing to see that side of baseball where you can get up and personal. If you know the game as well as I think I know the game, you can kind of make your own kind of judgments or assessments on this guy and his game and where you think he might be. And it's really cool if you're right, and you see him in a year or two, and it was like, yep, I called it. There's a couple of Braves guys like Michael Harris and Darius Vines, who's pitching with them, where just a couple of years ago I was like, and it's funny, those guys were roommates and stuff, and I didn't even know that at the time, and those were the two guys that I said, these guys are gonna play. It was wild.
Yeah, I think the one cool thing about our facility down in Fort Myers is we have like all the big league guys there as well. So I know like the Yankees are kind of like split up. I'm pretty sure the Orioles are too. So you kind of have to travel between the two, but every day we see all the big leaguers, all the minor leaguers are in the same spot, which is pretty cool. Obviously they got their own stuff going on, but you still get to pass by them, lift with them every once in a while, and,
Sure.
and get to talk.
Well, I was gonna say, and not only that, man, but advice, mentorship, like if I were down there, I'd be like a sponge, asking these guys, hey, anything you can tell me that I can add a tick or two, right? I mean, if you're smart, I wouldn't be at all intimidated. I would walk right up. You're in the same facility they are, man, and
Yep.
anything you can get from them, hey, that's just my advice from you. Walk right up to them and say, hey, listen, here's where I'm at. What can you help me with? I'm Connelly Early. I'm here just like you are, man. He's a proud owner of a Moneyball hat, so if I was to go into your phone right now and listen to your workout music, what do you got in there, man?
I'm all over the place with music. I mean, like I like older music, like rock music, classical music. I mean, I'm a big country music as well.
Mix it up. Mix it up.
Every once in a while it'll be rap. Every once in a while it'll be like the EDM vibe that you hear in, clubs these days, or on TikTok every once in a while. So, I have to mix it up, because otherwise I can't just fall into one genre. I don't know why, but I
Listen,
don't know. It's just nice to mix it up.
Absolutely. It makes you, all the more worldly. We'll go with worldly. I love that question, man, because a couple of the Savannah Bananas, I'm always kind of shocked by the answers I get. Like, there's a lot of EDM answers now. And I'm always then picturing somebody walking up to the plate for their walk-up song and having like Sandstorm or some crazy dance song. And I'm like, that's just weird.
Yeah, that's usually for my walk-up song, it has to be kind of a little bit slower just because, I'm already amped up for the game myself. So I think most of the hitters, because they get so many at bats, they need a like a little pump up song for them. But as a pitcher, for me, as a starter, I mean, I guess as a reliever, I might be a little bit different and want like a kickstart my heart
Yeah,
type of
Motley
vibe.
Crue.
But yeah, but just starter, usually it's something a little slower pace, so I can calm my nerve before throwing that first inning.
The fact that you just used a Motley Crue analogy is absolutely phenomenal. You've just moved up a couple ranks in my book.
Yes, sir. Love it.
This was a lot of fun, man. I'm going to let you get going. I hope you enjoyed your time with us. And man, I wish you nothing but success moving into the season, and definitely going to be following you and seeing where everything goes, man. And, I hope that you're pitching for the Boston Red Sox in Fenway.
Thank you, sir. Have a good time in New York City with the family.
Thanks a lot, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.